I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
Every time.
I can't help it. I love it myself.
Is that the intro music?
Yeah, and we in later, but that's the funny part. For some reason, I do it live. We both do it live.
I think that's a better way to go.
And we've even had the guy who was here yesterday did the same thing. He was doing it live and kind of dancing along to it. It was very funny.
Hilarious.
All right, let's see. Today is, oh gosh, but it's a pre-tape. This is a pre-tape episode. Okay, so let me explain this. Most people don't realize that when they're watching Colbert or any of those shows, that not necessarily all of those segments take place on the same night.
Right.
And sometimes, Stephen will be talking to Matt Damon or whomever, and then a comic will come out, and that comic was actually shot a month before or whatever. We are doing that for the first time today. This is our first pre-tape, and we are here with the Professor.
Hello.
Hello.
So nice to see you with the
I'm
Ryans.
so glad to see you.
My favorite happy loving couple.
All right, I want to explain a little bit. I just want to explain basically how I came to know you, because I have an image I want to show. And I came to know you before I ever came to know you. Basically, I came to know about you. Oh. I was working the Luftgekult event last year, which certainly all of our listeners would know what that is, but it's an air-cooled Porsche event. It's actually the air-cooled Porsche event. Would that be fair?
Of Southern California.
Of Southern California,
to be sure.
And my duty happened to be helping with car placement in the B lots, basically. It was the VIP lot, but not in the show.
Right, that's where I was parked.
Yes. So a car arrived, and I'm about to show a picture of it. It wasn't the first Porsche that arrived for the day, but it was the first one to park in that lot, and I'm going to show it now. Yes, so that's on a flatbed, and it was one of the first to arrive, and they drove it apparently from Vegas, and that ding, dent, whatever you want to call that damage in the front, wasn't there previous to the day before. And that dent has a sticker on it which says "The Professor Run."
That is true.
So I got the whole story from all of these guys, and when I say these guys, I mean these guys. Der Fascination, and producer John
Polnick.
And I can't remember the fella who was driving that car,
Derek
but we know him as well.
Talis Salad Chai. I practiced that one all night.
So essentially, I have that much of the story, and then I'm hearing about you and this run that they were all on the day before, and maybe a couple days or a week later, all the Der Fascination films came out, and I saw yours, and I saw that car previous to the accident.
He's the undergraduate.
Yes, and you are the professor.
And I'm the professor.
So that's how I came to know of your existence. I don't even remember when we first met.
I see.
But I wanted to at least let people know you have a reputation, and it's a good one, because this is the run to do. And tell us about you. Ben is your real name.
That's true. My name is Ben, and a lot of folks just know me as the Professor, which was a name given to me not because I hold a PhD. As a matter of fact, I do not hold a PhD.
So how did this come about then?
I am an English teacher.
Oh.
And some Porsche guys just started calling me the Professor. I think they may have been confused about the degree that I do or do not hold. And then, it spread, and now I'm just the Professor. Most people don't know my name is Ben. They just call me the Professor.
The Professor.
So, I am the Professor. I'm not a professor by the first dictionary definition, which is one who holds a PhD. But I do instruct.
But you're an educator.
I'm an educator. I'm an English teacher at UCLA Extension, and have been for some
I didn't know that.
Years.
Every time that we've talked about your teaching, first I assumed the professor, because I thought college. But then I thought like middle school, because you're awesome and you have such a good what's the word for
disposition?
Yeah, that's the one. You're so. And it must be maybe, well, I don't know. I didn't know you before, but I know you have a younger kid, so I just put it in that. But I didn't know it was UCLA Extension.
Yes.
I like that. And I've taken writing classes through that program.
Yeah.
It's a great program.
It's a good program. That's true.
But it must be interesting teaching that way. Do you teach in person?
I teach in person, live. Yes, for some 18 years.
crazy awesome.
So
What's the option to not teaching in person? Oh, I guess you teach online,
Online.
these
I took-
days. Oh
yeah.
my
The
gosh.
writing classes I took were
Didn't even
online.
occur to me.
the classroom may be extinct soon.
Isn't that something?
It's hard to say. So you know the Monterey Car Week event every year.
I do. There you go.
This last year was my 30th consecutive year going to Monterey.
Holy
I've been
smokes.
a lifelong car freak.
Yeah, I wanted it. We didn't even get. We're going to get to your Porsche collection and everything else, but please do keep going.
So yeah, I was in 1988. I discovered that event, and there are many events, of course, during the Monterey Car Week. And I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
How did you find out about that?
Yeah.
I grew up in the Bay Area, and I'd
Okay.
heard about it for many years. And I was, of an age where I could get myself to Monterey in my own car.
Yeah.
And once I went, I thought, I'm never going to miss this for the rest of my life. And so far, I've
Holy
got that
cow.
streak going.
That's
It's
awesome.
the longest streak I have of anything except for maybe birthdays.
Yeah, birthday's the only thing longer. Yeah, 30 years is a long time to do anything every year. That's really quite I mean, okay, how many other people, if you've been going every year, you probably have a lot of friends who go. Is anybody else at that tier of
I do-
30 plus?
I know people have been there more than 30 years, but I don't know.
But not consecutive.
But maybe not consecutively. So I go because I love to learn about cars. So these guys that named me the professor, who I meet up there every year, they really know a lot about Porsches.
Okay.
But they don't know about other makes. And I just love all cars.
Mm-hmm.
So we walk around the shows together and they say, Professor, what's that? Professor, what's that? And that's that's really why they call me the professor, because they seem to have this
Knowledge, body of knowledge.
Yeah, encyclopedic knowledge of trivial bullshit. Something nobody really cares. Can I say that?
Yeah.
All right.
Please.
All right,
Yeah,
then.
we love when people don't care.
Okay.
You meant bullshit.
Yeah, I did.
I know.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just my favorite event. I just love to go and instead of instruct, which I ended up doing sometimes anyway, as I just explained, I love to go and see things that I never see anywhere else and learn things about cars that I can't learn.
That's why I like going to car shows with you specifically, is because I learn about
me?
things. I like you.
Yeah.
But with him,
Yeah, he is more handsome.
no. Who knows? In my opinion, I love him.
You're right.
And you're great. But I like learning about cars from you because you have a similarly encyclopedic knowledge, but specifically tailored to things I like.
I think
A
that
lot of movie background too.
I feel that communication is really the root of that. I think it's finding what someone else will find interesting about X subject matter. If I tell you, oh, look, that old Audi Quattro over there is actually badass, I know when you're looking at it, that's not something you believe. You're going, that's an old, boxy, weird-looking car. And I have to tell you, like, no, it's really important, and here's why, but I'll tell you the stuff. I won't go on about it was so good, they banned it. I won't tell you that stuff. But I will tell you, know what I mean? I'll tell you that I grew up driving only those cars because
too.
that's what come on.
I had an 85 4000 CS Quattro
Okay.
as my daily.
What?
And recently I just sold, after 11 years of ownership, my 99 A4 Quattro.
Fabulous.
And by the way, I don't know how to drive an automatic.
I'm actually very similar in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a DCT for a little while. I got rid of it. I didn't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no. I'll crash.
79 5000S,
Oh.
84 4000S. Now, these are not just mine. These are the ones I drove growing up, my mother's cars and stuff. 9090, 9590,
Are these Quattros?
97 A4 on and off somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And
all
on
Audis.
and on and on and all four. Yeah, absolutely.
right.
But
Look at us.
And all of basically it's the same car iteration over and over. The 5000 was basically the bigger one, but from the 4000 on, it was always the same kind of iteration. Just the evolution thereof. How funny.
Yeah.
Every single thing, we're unraveling, and our onion layers are the same at every layer.
And you used to have 944 when you were a young man.
My first Porsche was a 951, 944 turbo.
Is that the one with the tree on it in the photo?
Yeah, it is. I wish I had a picture of that to
My
throw up.
first Porsche was a 944.
Really?
Yeah,
What?
1983, black on black.
Black on black. I had phone dialers.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I
Yeah.
had the cookie cutters.
Okay.
Stock. that I bought in 1988. Wow. And I've not been without a Porsche since.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the ones you have now.
Oh, my goodness.
And then we can go into, I know they're in various states. I'm sure you love to say various states of disrepair.
Yes, I do like to say that. Professor Patina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I love about you and your cars, but I'd rather you tell everybody about it.
Well, I feel the same way about furniture and homes and accessories, and that is I like to see time on things. Yeah. And that's something you can't buy in the store. Yep. You know, it requires effort to put patina on. And so all my, I was going to say guitars, but I don't have guitars. All my cars have a certain level of wear and tear on them. And I am not necessarily responsible for that wear and tear. It was often
some you've chosen because of that wear and tear, though, right?
Yes, and also the wear and tear, at least in the past, has kept those cars in a reasonable price range.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So liking fucked up cars is convenient.
When it comes to collecting, for sure.
Yeah,
much
when it comes
easier.
to buying, yeah.
And just a sidebar, patina is the paint that looks concocted or the whole process of concocting things with cars?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Specifically, I was talking about paint with you, but when we talk about furniture and certainly interiors, I mean, it really is anything. Showing use, wear, it's a very polite way of saying it's worn out or it's wearing out.
Right.
Would you find it in vintage? Is it on vintage items? Like, would you say a bookcase can be patinaed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, they fake patina bookcases now because patina has become such.
That's bullshit.
It's become a thing as much as the word a thing.
It's like my jeans being ripped before I bought them and put the rips in myself.
That's
That's exactly it.
If you recall the shabby chic thing, maybe 10,
Right.
15 years ago, it was the same thing, but more with country. If we're talking patina, maybe some of this mid-century stuff with some nicks and scratches on it and stuff.
But you don't fake it on porches. Like, none of the patina photos that you put up have been like, oh, isn't that cute? Because it was designed that way.
I think there are
it's real.
certainly a lot that are patinaed that way right now. I think of Rock Motorsports, those guys, I think the name, I got that wrong, but those guys who did the awesome Telefunken 911, they're in Jersey. Yeah, that's why Rocks, ROCS.
Yeah.
Spectacular. Specifically, I would say that we are faking and cheating patina a little bit because our car was windows out resprayed less than 2 years ago, but we keep it dirty to have the patina look.
Right.
You know, we're doing sort of a faux patina.
Dirty is cool.
But just we like that same sort of thing, and having a nice fresh paint job. It looked a little M&M-y for us.
Too much bling.
It was so shiny.
The royal eye.
It doesn't
Perfect looking that it just looked like, I got why people were like, why don't you clean it and won't take it? Like, why do you take it out? It's like,
Well, now there's that trend where they have wraps.
Yes.
And the wraps are like rusted out.
Yes.
Scratched
And dirt and everything.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
I love it.
I love the sense of humor there.
It's usually on $200,000+ cars, you know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
that's funny. It's like scuffing up your shoes.
It's exactly that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you got to earn that though.
I agree.
Yeah.
It has to be real for me.
When you buy this might do it. When you buy a vintage, soft, worn the heck out leather jacket or something like a leather article of clothing, you love vintage jackets, which is what made me think of that right now with that beautiful one you're wearing.
Thank you very much.
Versus going to a store
A fancy
and buying.
place at the mall and getting an expensive leather coat that's new.
Yeah, but even just a new motorcycle, even the new leather jacket that the arms are all stiff and everything else, it's not
The old
worn
ones
in.
mold to you a little bit, or they have the flexibility and they allow.
That would be our argument.
Right,
Absolutely.
okay.
I tried to make it where the old is better. That I tried to use something where that would work.
Yeah.
It
Well, we're
worked.
better now that we're older.
For sure.
That
I
is
know for a fact I am.
damn
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
in our case.
Yes, exactly. Well, I wasn't including you because you're still young.
You're adorable.
Oh, come on.
I'm definitely better now that I'm older. For sure. I care way less. It's like that adage
Which is
that
better.
like old ladies don't give a shit. Like I don't care. I'm not old enough to be considered an old lady, but I've adopted that not
isn't it
giving
liberating?
a shit.
Liberating is a great word for it.
I keep getting hung up once in a while. I often get hung up, but when I'm in the flow of not giving a shit, it's great.
I'm
It's
with you.
the best.
Yeah.
You guys have helped me with that.
I don't care.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go through the stable of what you got right now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Because you typically drive a different car every time I see you.
Oh, is that true?
Well, you alternate, that's for sure.
You know, I have 3 Porsches,
Okay.
and have had for some time. So the jewel of my collection is a 1970 911 T Coupe in its original pastel blue, which is a fantastic car. It was a
And beautiful color.
September '69 build, like number 105 of the 2.2s, and so just a really early example of a beautiful car. I bought that car in 2002, some 16 years ago, and you know, it's the one possession I own that I hope to own for the rest of my years.
Yeah. It's a dead guy car.
Yeah, as soon as I think I'm not materialistic, I think of that thing, and I go, "Yeah, I sure am." That's a material.
Right. I could give her to everything.
Yeah.
Oh, but not that.
Yeah, I would love to travel. Will I sell that to go travel? No.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather sleep in it.
Yep.
I bet there is an element that you get as much out of that car as you would traveling. So it equals out in that, like, okay.
Well, here's the great thing about cars is that you can travel them.
Yeah.
So they can aid
Yeah.
travel.
That's what I was going to say. And you have the longevity of that's many, many trips versus 1 or 2.
Yes.
You know, or a few even.
Yes.
It's a lifetime of journeys and adventures, which is how we look at things when we go out.
It's
Yeah.
true. And you guys are as aware as of you guys are as aware as anyone of the trend in Porsche pricing, which has gotten astronomical and a bit ridiculous. And so if you bought a long time ago, then you're sitting pretty or whatever. But
I was going to say it's hard to say it's ridiculous when they're getting it because the demand is there. I mean, people are more than happy to pay twice what we're paying now. And it's, I mean, I'm with you. It's crazy.
Right.
And I don't know where it stops. It's keeping us from getting into the air-cooled game, you know?
Right, exactly. On the other hand, I would know a way that I would enjoy more spending a lot of money than on a vintage Porsche sports car.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the blue one. What are your other ones?
Okay.
You have 2 other ones, I think.
I do. I have the one that you've seen, which is really the patina queen.
Okay.
They're all patinaed to within an inch of their life. But the silver one with all the paint falling off,
Yeah, the one I know.
that is my 1981 911 SC coupe that I bought in 2012. Right before the market really took off on what we call the short hood or G-body cars. And
is that the car that's in the, I mean, I know I've seen it, but is that the one that's in the Professor Der Fascination video?
Yes.
Okay.
Featured in the Der Fascination video.
Great.
And she's a beauty. And I just love to drive her hard. And
I posted some photos of it the other day.
you did. Yeah, you got some great shots.
I love that
That
car.
really pretty
Love
one
that
of our car, Ed Newcomb's.
Yeah.
That
It was
one's
just
so pretty.
showing the patina, honestly. It wasn't even a car shot. It's just kind of
Yeah,
zooms in on the patina, and
yeah.
it's some of my favorite stuff. The character and the textures, and it really, really appeals to my creative side, and whatever gets me going about cars, I dig it. I just really, really dig it.
That's the only car. I think I've owned over 35 cars in my life. That's the only car I ever bought sight unseen.
Really?
I just, I saw an ad in Craigslist. It didn't even have a photo. I called the guy.
You bought that. Let's pause. You bought that sight unseen from Craigslist?
Yeah, well, from a guy.
But
Who was advertising on Craigslist.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I know. This is exactly what I advise people not to do. File it in the do as I say, not as I do column. But I ended up becoming fast friends on the telephone with this gentleman in Berkeley. And he was just like, I want you to have my car.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you hit it. I mean, that's almost better than seeing the car. If you know the owner that well, then
He had owned it for 15 years, had
That's
every single service record from the original owner who he had made an effort to meet, and he just loved his car. And he was ready to move on and was really looking for the next buyer. So we agreed on a price, and then I went to borrow the money and found out that I wasn't eligible to borrow any money. So sadly I had to call him up and say, look, I can't buy your car because my credit union isn't as cool as I thought it was. My income isn't as good as I thought it was.
All the above.
All the above. And he said, you know what? I've had this car for 15 years. I want it to go to the right person. You're the right person. So, let's put it in the garage, and you can just pay me when you can.
Put it in whose garage?
Well, I ended up paying for storage up in Berkeley to keep the car safe and off the road, and you installment he just
plan?
said, yeah, and we just installment planned.
Holy cow!
Yeah, this is a guy I met on the telephone.
This doesn't. That. Yeah, this is those stories. This doesn't happen.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen in the world anymore.
And we're still close. We talk often.
Well, and he can see his car on YouTube anytime he wants. It's so cool.
Yeah, he's really happy now.
That's really neat.
You
gave the car a new life for him, which gives him another one. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a great story. So eventually I paid it off and took it home.
Now it's yours.
But I go up to the Bay Area from time to time and call him up.
You're from up there, right?
I am from the Bay Area, so I'd go up there to see my family, and then I'd stop and see him, and then he'd throw me the keys, and I'd drive that car for the weekend and then give it back. And this went on for a year or so until I was finally able to buy the car completely. And
what a cool story!
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, well, that's what Defascination's all about too. About the stories behind the store, whatever the owners and the cars and the whole bit.
Yeah, it's about the fascination of the mark.
Yeah, is that really what it's? Is that what he says it stands for?
Yeah, I think so. It's not as much about the cars as it is about
the draw to the cars,
love for the cars, and fascination for. So my other Porsche, number three of three, I have a 1973 Porsche 914, 1.7 liter.
Sunflower yellow.
It's sunflower yellow. Well done, Jay. Memory.
Lock it in.
Is one of a much younger man's. No, I just. And that's absolutely the slowest car in the world, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. Because
but you're a momentum driver, so that probably is perfect for you.
Well, you said the word. It's momentum. It's conservation of momentum. Carrying your speed through the corners is what good drivers do. And if you want to drive that car quickly at all, that's what you have to do.
You're right.
I mean, I think it had 70 horsepower when it was new.
Right.
Now it's smoky and old, so it probably kicks out more like 50 or 55 horsepower.
I was guessing 45, 50, something like that.
Yeah.
And just for comparison, new cars have approximately how many horsepower?
Ours is a 16-year-old car, I think, and it's got 355.
Okay.
Wow, which car is that?
The car you know.
Yeah, the yellow car.
Oh, the yellow car. Is it that old?
No, I think it's 12, 13 years
old.
It was built 04. So, 14 years. Wow. 14 years old.
Yeah.
And the M4 had 440 or something like that. I mean, it was. I mean, so it's.
But we're talking like astronomically different, 70 to 45 to 70.
If you put that car on par with let's call it a Boxster today, I would say it would be the equivalent to 718. I think they're pushing 300 horsepower, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So when they
bananas.
reintroduced the Beetle in the late 90s, I think the stat was that that Beetle is faster than the James Bond Aston Martin DB5.
Probably by quite some margin, I would guess.
Yeah.
From a 60s to...
Which is fascinating to think about.
Yeah.
They re-released the Beetle in the 90s? I remember it in like the
new Beetle that you're talking, that you...
I had a friend that got it, but I thought it was late. It was in the mid-2000s. Because I turned 16 and was in the car market for the first time when I was 16, like 96.
What would you like help with?
Yes.
I feel like I would have wanted a Beetle if it had been out when I was looking at cars, but instead I was like, the neon seems happy. And I got a
Dodge Neon.
But
I know a lot of people who got the Neon pre because it came out like 2 years before the Beetle.
Fine, that's what I wanted to know was like why didn't I want the Beetle then?
I'm guessing the neon was like 92, 93. Remember, it was it Say Hi?
Yeah.
Say Hi to
Yeah.
neon.
What?
And it
It
was like
blinked.
Great slogan.
That's right. That's right. And it was sort of like pitched as sort of the hippie car. Like, it's so friendly. It's a people's car, so to speak.
Right.
That's what I remember. It was friendly, like a bee. I remember thinking, like, oh, that reminds me of. So
Some cues were more like the original Beetle than the new Beetle, I think, too.
yeah, that's
in some
true.
ways.
Right. So the new Beetle is not the people's car as much.
I don't know. I think it probably is today's people's car, right? I just never liked it because of the front engine, front wheel drive set, the drivetrain,
Right.
and nothing about it appealed to me. I didn't mind the looks of it.
Right.
And I was actually kind of fascinated because if you ever sat in one, whatever you thought from the outside, if you ever sat in one, it was impossibly big inside.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
impossibly big, like bigger on the inside than the outside somehow.
But what we love about the original is rear engine, rear wheel drive.
That's what I personally like
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
that one feels like a car. This one feels like something at an amusement park. And I had friends more recently, like in the mid to 2010s, that had one. And it just feels like, what's that ride at Disneyland that you get in like as a kid that before you have your
Autopia.
license?
Yeah, sure.
That's the one.
Yeah,
so it
it's
feels
my
like
favorite.
one of those rides of like, yes, you're in control, but you're in a
You're
on
on
a
rails.
track.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I feel that way about all modern cars.
Yeah.
And by
Yeah.
modern, I mean like
2005 on?
85 on.
Oh, 85.
yeah, you go front.
I'm
to
old.
back. You're not old.
Oh, thanks for saying so.
All right.
But so that 914, it just teaches you all the right stuff. If you lift off the throttle in a corner, it's going to take you 5 minutes to get back up to speed. In a modern car, you lift and you just blast the
Put it back
throttle
on.
and you're right back where you were. So you really pay if you're not paying attention, and that's why I think it's so fun.
Fully agree.
Yeah.
It's momentum cars and momentum driving in general, I find, depending on, I guess, the person. But for me, how should I say this? If I were to put an analogy on it, I would say it's very similar to how I would like to live our lives. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas you just kind of keep a steady pace and you just kind of keep on going. The hurry up and slow down and hurry up and slow down. I don't feel that that's
Ronnie
good
Revett.
for anybody. Exactly. Ronnie Revitz, as Danica Patrick likes to say.
As I used to drive that way, not well, but
It's
fast.
just it's inefficient. You're burning fuel and brakes like crazy, and it's just
That's true.
it's the way we all do it when we're young. And then
Yeah.
I feel like you get to a certain point where, oh no, it's all about keeping the pace, and then you learn about shaving time off that way and things like that, and that stuff becomes so much more important.
Right. So now you're a momentum liver.
A momentum liver
Yes.
versus whatever we used to do before, which was hurry up to the next thing and don't even enjoy it. Hurry up to the next. I mean, it never made sense.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's enjoy every moment. This slow curve, that long straightaway, enjoy it all.
A fantastic metaphor.
Thank you, brother.
I'm with you.
I couldn't get there so easily, but I
yeah.
appreciate you staying with me.
Yeah, and you're always on the racing line. Metaphorically.
I came up with, you know what? I don't even want to say it. I'll tell you off the air because I'll tell you off the air.
Oh, I'm excited about this story.
Me too.
got
I
some
don't
off-the-air
remember.
stories.
No. The idea I came up with this morning for our stick. We've been trying to come up with a
yeah.
branding thing for something else, and I'll tell you. But it doesn't matter. Everyone will know soon enough, but I will tell you right after.
So your Porsche is a 2005.
It's an 05. Yeah,
It's an 05,
It's
and
a very early 997.
And so you had a 944.
Yep.
And then any other Porsches?
Nope.
Or were those your two?
Those are my two. And most people don't realize that. I went BMW in between for the whole time.
Yeah. BMW is one of those.
And is certainly was at the time. If you're not still, I don't know. But like as knowledgeable about the BMWs available and the marketplace of
at the time,
BMW
sure. Yeah.
as he is with Porsches now. So to me, as I'm not into cars like that. It was like, oh, you just pulled the curtain back on the entire car world for me multiple times, and I give up. Like I have no idea.
Yeah, M3s, 3 Series, M4 was the last one, and we
so
had
big.
the M4 that was. I wanted it so bad. I coveted that car because I thought it was so good looking when it came out, and it was just like it was going to be the newer, bigger, better car that I love.
Right.
And it was fast. It was awesome. It was loud. It was. I didn't like it.
Heavy.
It was honestly, it was light for everything that it had, but yeah, it felt heavy and it was big, and it's just, in my opinion, too much. But that used to be a momentum car as well. It always had power, the M's, but and any of them. But I think back to the old 4-cylinder E30s,
Right.
and that car had very little power.
Right, like 150 horsepower. Or
Yeah, it
something
might have even been that. It might have
Yeah.
140. I can't really remember.
That's what my
at the
944
time.
was.
And
Which seemed really fast at the time.
Yeah, totally. So, my 944 turbo was a lightning bolt. Yeah, I thought. But anyway, this M4, it wasn't pushing the buttons. And like I said, it was DCT because that's what was available. We got it like when it was fresh out.
So 2-pedal.
Yeah, 2-pedal, which was a mistake, I would say as well. But I drove the stick. It doesn't matter. It was enough that that we switched back. Yeah, and I always wanted to get back to Porsche. I always wanted a 944 again. I always wanted a 944 turbo again because I loved that car so much. I never should have gotten rid of it.
Yeah.
Again, young, couldn't afford the maintenance, didn't know what I was doing. I kept taking it to the dealer.
Oh boy!
You know what I mean?
Pay
Like
for it 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah,
over.
there's a leak over there. Oh, well, that's going to be the steering rack for sure. And that's $1,200 because you're doing it here, and it's going to take all day, obviously, because you're 19 years old and you don't know.
Right.
And a tune-up is $1,400, but just all this stuff. And I was like, I bought the car for $6,000 or something. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, I'm doubling almost what it doesn't.
Well, that's the sad thing about
and
those
I didn't
cars.
have a job at this. You know what I mean? I was just a kid.
Yeah. Right.
I did everything wrong, but drive it. I drove it a lot, and I drove it up to Lime Rock. Drove it all over the place. Loved that car. So that's what I always wanted to get again, and thought like, oh, well, in a 911 someday, and always wanted to get. It escaped me that these cars were climbing because I wasn't looking at them. I was in the BMW world for so long.
Yeah.
I always thought I'd get a 993 because that's what I first fell in love with, and that's what first Porsche I ever drove. Danbury Porsche, which we still wear their plate or their plate bracket. They were letting me test drive 993s like they were going out of style.
I think the 993 is the high mark of human achievement.
But I was 18, 19 years old, and they were letting me go out with it. And
which one's the 993?
Nowadays, last of the air cooled.
Okay.
Nowadays, a very
95 through 98.
coveted vehicle. And
Ask the professor.
I will.
Okay.
Sorry to keep going on, but what I wanted to get to was I couldn't buy that car, obviously, and my dad had just passed away, and despite all of that, and actually even more because of it, I couldn't afford anything. But I did buy the head technician's 944 turbo. It was his personal daily driver that he would also track. It was his beater, basically, and that was the car that I bought, and so it was already race prepped. It already had the oversized wheels on it and the oversized tires and
no
different
deferred
turbo
maintenance,
and stuff like
which
that.
is so important with those cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I knew that the car was good and clean, even though it was not perfect on the outside. It had patina, even though it was only 10 years old. This would have been 97, and it was an 86 and a half. But so that was how that all transpired. So I fell in love with the 993. Thought I would get one of those again. Or I thought I would get one of those eventually someday because I thought, oh, I'll wait till they're 15 grand. You know what I mean? Like you wait till they all get down to 15 grand and you just pick one up at a gas station because it needs a top end valve adjustment or something. You know what I mean?
Like the way of the Cayenne or where the Panamera is going.
But how all the old air cooleds used to be. I grew up in Fairfield County, Connecticut, and they were everywhere because there was a lot of money around. So people would drive them as a car, and then they'd become a used car. Yeah, that was just it. They'd become a used car, and if their friend didn't want to buy it, they'd put it at the gas station down on the corner with a for sale sign in it and call the number, just for exposure.
I bought my beloved long hood for a whopping $6,000.
So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I thought, I'll get one of those when it comes down to 15 grand. And a friend of mine was into Porsches at the time, and he was looking to get one. And we went to go look at a 930, and he was like, "Yeah, see how much it is? It's like $150,000." And I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was at Auto Gallery, but I couldn't believe it.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. So that the hopes were dashed for the 993 at that point, and the 997 became the next best thing for us. So that's how that came to be.
Yeah, I don't get excited about the escalating values. I wish they were all still $6,000.
Yeah,
so we could have more of them and enjoy them.
I love the creativity that the R Group guys do to their cars, and you as well. Just kind of all of everyone we hang out with is sort of more open. I don't even say customizing, but personalizing.
Personalizing. I think is a good way to say it.
Everyone that we know in that group is very individual in nature, and they feel like their cars represent that about them. Like regardless of what they do with it, whether it's nothing and they clean it all the time or whatever, it presents their owner.
Yeah, I agree.
They are, and I love that.
I agree. It's communication, just like the clothes we wear or anything else. Like the Prius we drive says a lot about who we are.
Can I change subjects very quick? I've been meaning to say it the whole time. Your voice, I've said this to you in person, but now that we are on the mic, I mean, your voice is so exceptional. It's so warm. It's so
Rich.
Have you ever considered doing any kind of voice work or voiceover?
Thank you, Jay. I do appreciate that.
Hey, you're getting it.
But I want to tell you something. Many people have told me in my life, Professor, you have a face for radio. So, yeah, I'd consider it.
You know what's funny? This is the other thing that's been in the back of my head since we started here. I've never thought it before.
Yes,
but
sir.
seeing you here with the mic and the cans on.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if this would be an insult to you or not, but I was going to say, has anyone ever said you look like anyone? Do you get celebrity look-alike ever?
Oh,
Did it
I
just
know
happen?
where we're going.
Only because
it just happened.
Just happened
I know
today with the mic and the
exactly what you're
headphones.
thinking.
Do
Sitting
you get
here,
it?
No.
And the
hands,
sunglasses.
Sunglasses, microphone. You're thinking Daniel Day-Lewis.
I was going to go Michael J. Fox, actually.
Ah!
Howard Stern.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously. Obviously, right?
Yeah, I hadn't gotten there. I was on Doug the cartoon.
Now, I would not ever say that you look like Howard Stern, period.
He and I looked more similar to one another in the 80s.
Long hair?
Yes.
Do you have long hair?
Yeah.
You're a musician.
As far as you know.
We should get to that too, but I don't know if I'm done with this yet. Do you ever get anybody else that you ever look like?
Eric Roberts.
That one I can see a little bit. Yeah,
from time to time.
You're definitely a younger, more chiseled.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, tall Woody Allen.
Come on. Now that you pulled that from the picture behind me.
I was staring at me all day. I couldn't help it.
We watched a movie called The Majestic the other day, which is one of my favorite movies. But more than that, there's an actor in it who I have really only known as an old man. So I've never made this connection, but we watched, I think it was The Majestic or something else, but it showed a picture of him when he was younger. It had to be The Majestic. And I said, oh my God, that looks like the professor. Any idea who I might be talking about? It's really not fair because he's an old man. I think he's dead now, actually, but he was an old man.
Jimmy Stewart.
Martin Landau.
Martin Landau.
When he was young, he was a very handsome devil, and I didn't know any of that. And we saw this picture. Do you remember when we were? Was it The Majestic we watched?
Yes.
Recently, and it had Martin Landau, a picture of him when he was younger. And I said it looked like the professor, Jim Carrey's dad in the movie.
Yes.
He's a fantastic actor.
Jim Carrey.
I was talking about Martin
Martin
Landau.
Landau. Yeah, he's fantastic.
So I would assume this would probably be back in the Mission Impossible days or something when he was like young, and I'm guessing, I don't know. But
Yeah.
you never heard that?
No, but I'll take it.
All right.
Yeah.
I hope that neither of those were insulting.
No,
we
not
both
at
think
all.
you are devilishly handsome.
It's not
Go on.
insulting if you come at it from a place of love and admiration.
Yeah.
Boom.
No, really, go on.
Boom. Yeah.
I
right.
just
I'm lost
love
in your eyes.
you.
Ah,
You were famous
Thank you.
in our house for a while
love
because
that.
he would come home and be like, we're going on this run. And I just am so glad to have met you.
thank you.
And to know you,
feeling
I
is
think it's super
mutual.
neat.
Life with the Ryans just couldn't be better.
Well, I did spend my birthday with you and New
did.
Year's Day.
You did, and your house is decorated in Porsche. You're like the dream girl.
Is it
Am
really
I?
decorated
You really
in Porsche?
are.
There's just a couple things.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're here to tell Jay.
It's true. Have you ever been to other guys' houses? All that Porsche stuff's in the basement or the garage.
Really?
Or the cave.
Well, I am
Yeah.
blessed for being the decorator of the entire house. Then
Yeah, and getting the stamp of approval and marrying well.
married well.
Marrying some chick
Very
who
lucky.
doesn't give a shit
Yeah.
and
Very
has
lucky
no
on that.
concept on her own.
Right. So I just want to make reference to your birthday again, which was, for those who don't know,
December 3rd.
December 3rd.
For a late gift. No, just kidding.
And so I think it was your 29th.
Yeah.
And what did you do on your birthday? But you woke up at 6 a.m. and
I went on my
rode
first
with your
professor run.
husband
Yep.
on
That was
the
a heck of a
professor
run.
run. You
Not
went on
you.
a
Or
150-mile jaunt through the mountains.
is that how far it was?
That's how far it
I
was.
think at least, yeah.
I have no concept. I close my eyes half the time. So
Yeah, did you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not that day. I think, but when we do stop, I'm like, oh, here we are. Like I have no idea where.
We kind of get lost a little bit, because we don't have a radio or anything, and we, believe it or not, we don't even talk that much unless something's going on. We really enjoy the. I don't want to put
Silence?
words. Yeah, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Therapy. I put words in your mouth.
we take it all in, and it is a version of meditation almost.
For me, it is as well.
It is
it
a
the
version
fresh
of
air?
meditation for sure.
We breathe through it. I mean, you're breathing through those turns almost as if you're doing a workout in a weird way. It's
Yeah.
cathartic. You can really wash if you know what you're doing.
It's
which
a
apparently
mentally
we do.
athletic practice for the drivers.
Yep.
And I've let it become one for me as a passenger because I think the inclination, and people assume that we talk all the time and that we have the radio on, and we don't have any of that.
Yeah.
And we're silent for most of it. And I've come to really like that about our drives. So when we talk, I'm always like, okay, like.
Yeah, it's almost like a buzzkill. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was something, it took me out of, because it's an opportunity for
Yeah.
her to daydream and look out the window and
you
not have
as
to worry about anything.
As the driver are in your zone.
Absolutely. Oh,
You're
two
in your
turns
rhythm.
ahead for sure.
Right,
Yeah, the
exactly.
eyes are
focused, and I clear cobwebs.
Yeah.
It's just a great thinking time for me. It's like
agreed. You breathe in that fresh, and that's the other thing is where we drive. We're very, very lucky to be able to have access to some of not only the most beautiful, but just some of the most naturistic and bucolic roads in Southern California.
it is so true.
Some of the best driving roads in the world, let alone this country.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
I
from
know.
NorCal, right?
I
So
am.
it's not like you've been traversing across the country your whole life. Like,
I have not. No, I've just been driving California mountain roads since I was a teener.
they're beautiful, and I've lived out here for I think 15 years if we do the math, but like more than that, since like 98 until recently. I'd never been up in the mountains because the farthest I'd taken my Nissan Altima on was, I got totally made fun of the other day for having that, was Mulholland, was that stretch in the middle, and that was super nice. But I remember being nervous to drive up there when I first got it, because I was like, this is California drive. It's not. California driving is what you guys do, and what you've shown me the last couple of years.
I think back in the day, the Mulholland car culture was a different beast. You know, before it was as residential, and before it was as policed and everything else. Because Derek Whitaker is somebody to talk to about that. I mean, with the Mulholland International Raceway Revival Consortium.
Right.
Is that right? Did I get it all
I think
right?
you got
Is that him?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
But the history of some of those guys, King of the Hill and all that stuff is, so I think back then that really was a lot of car culture. It's just these days you kind of have to get out of town. You know, so that's why I think the roads where we are out at Angeles Crest is very beneficial.
Well, I appreciate it every time someone looks at my photos and is like, you guys have been traveling all over. And at first I get mad because I'm like, I can't travel right now. So I get irritated because I'm an asshole. But second, the minute they're like, when I'm able to say like, no, we drove there this morning and we're back by 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like, that's a very cool thing.
Very cool.
About living out here.
You guys have a heady pace. You are
Yeah?
everywhere all the time, it would seem.
Well,
That's really nice of you to say. I don't think so,
You don't
but
think so?
that's super nice. I think I don't think we're everywhere, but we really enjoy the times that we're out. So we definitely take photos. We find pretty moments in those times. But
we get invited to an awful lot of
That's
stuff
true.
too. So I mean,
that's true.
it may not seem like we do a lot because we're constantly either turning things down or not able to go to things. So it's kind of like, because we just need to recoup and stay, you know, in the zone of getting healed up on MS and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like just
I'm
downtime.
a damper on this dude, and that's awesome.
That's not.
I don't
that's
feel
not
that.
at all.
I
That's
don't
not
feel
at
that
all
from
what
him.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. But more on the lines of we say no to a lot of stuff. So maybe that's why it seems like we don't do that much stuff. But we really do a lot. We do
You're right.
all 3 weekend days. Every
Here's
weekend.
the deal. I downplay how much we do because remember when we had Derek on, he was like, I do this and this and this and this and this. You haven't heard. But like a friend that I used to work with came and was telling us all about the 17 million things he's packed into his 2-day
He's got a
trip to
different
LA.
life. He's got a different
Overachiever.
life.
Totally, but that used to be mine. So compared to what we do now, it's very little,
Right.
and I really enjoy how much we do. But you're right, my perspective's off. We do a lot.
Yeah, you guys are out and about. You're not
He
catching
has
up
your
on
old life, and you're attaching that to like.
No, that's what I was saying.
Stop! I know you did. Everything's
You
fine.
guys don't say
You
I'm
have
gonna watch
explained it perfectly.
17 Netflix series. You're out living your lives.
Oh, we
We'll watch
watched
one Netflix series, and then we go for a ride, and we'll come back watch another Netflix series.
Yeah.
I see. One of my favorite SoCal activities is going to Newcomb's Ranch every Friday for your breakfast club.
Thanks, dude.
I'm
It is
glad you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a must on the calendar. And Fridays that I have to miss it always make me sad.
Well, you
Yeah.
missed it this morning because you
I
were
did.
doing stuff so that you could come do this.
That is true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
know.
guess we sort of blew it. It's Friday, but it's going to be Monday for the rest of the folks.
As long as I can spend a couple hours with the Ryans every week, I think I'll be okay.
We love you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
rad.
not. This is You're awesome.
Ah,
Like, you really are
feelings
family. That's
mutual.
the weird thing. You feel like family. I mean, we hug each other every time, and it's kind of like, hey, brother, hey, brother.
I'm from California. I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say? Plus, I
Maybe
love you.
that's it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. Do you want to talk about musicianing?
Not so much.
Cool.
Yeah.
So just cars.
It's mostly what I like.
I don't know
I
anything
like
about your
music.
musicianing.
Yeah. You guys
Yeah,
are
we're both drummers, so I thought.
Yeah, we both play the drums. Yeah.
Oh, it was nice to talk to Michael this morning about musicianing a little bit. What's
Yeah.
on your notepad?
And Jay,
Michael Dolphin.
You're a jazz drummer, is that right?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing on my notepad. I don't know why you would refer
You
to it.
live baked potato adjacent. Do you
I
guys
do.
make it out that way?
Not in a long time. And not since we've lived here.
Yeah.
Which is
What's
odd.
the baked
Yeah.
potato?
The Baked Potato is one of the last remaining jazz clubs.
Yep.
Oh,
from
I've driven
old
by that
Hollywood.
in my old life. Is that the jazz club?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jazz, blues, whatever. It's kind of, it's just a great small, it's one of the last great small rooms, honestly, in
It
LA.
is.
'Cause
It's where-
Cozy's is gone. I think there's Harvell's on the west side, but
Yeah, and
that's
there's
changed a lot over the years,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, there are others. Catalina Bar and Grill is not.
I don't
where it
know.
once
I don't
was.
really enjoy that.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you?
a little
I mean,
sterile.
it feels, that's a great way to put it. Almost inauthentic. It's
Yeah.
like the whole thing is a show. Like from the parking garage to the valet to the whole thing is just a little too.
I don't know if I know that one.
It's right in the heart of Hollywood, like right on Hollywood. It's in a building, right? It's in a bigger like office building
It
or
is.
something.
Yeah,
like
exactly. In the
connected.
basement.
The music's good. I think they have good people playing there. I don't want to shit on the Catalina Jazz. Room or
No,
whatever.
no,
It's
no.
really-
They're keeping jazz alive, which is not an easy thing to do.
There's one I really want to go to, and I think it might be Silver Lake. You might know about it. I don't know, but I know Jeff Goldblum plays there regularly with his Mildred Snitzer orchestra.
Jeff Goldblum is who I would have play me. In
Ah.
my life story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
Yes.
You've got the tinted glasses. It must go
Yeah.
faster. Must go faster. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a
there
good
you go.
one. I've always loved Jeff Goldblum.
He's the best. You took me on a great date to see him.
I lucked out to get, I don't know how to say this, the best seats possible at the Amundsen front row center.
Wow, look at you. You know people.
I don't know how it happened. It was one of those, oh, he's coming, he's doing this thing, and she really likes him, and that would be a fun outing. This is a couple years ago. But yeah, it was one of those weird things where it's like, oh, Jeff Goldblum's in your lap.
That's
Ta-da!
so cool. Right.
It was very nice to. He's such a good performer. Like really underrated to me, and so
fine actor
good
as
to
well.
see. Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, for sure. In that movie with the dinosaurs, he was great.
I didn't see that one.
Jurassic
neither.
Park.
What was it
Nah.
called?
Nah, I don't really
so
do
good.
dinosaurs so much.
Oh, it's a bummer. You're missing out.
I didn't have the dino fever
No, not so much.
back in '93. Dino fever.
If you watch Seinfeld, there's a reason to get in there. Newman.
Oh yeah, good for you. That's right.
It's called dead air right there. But
No, I'm
Is
trying to.
that
Think.
he's thinking.
It's great. No, we don't mind dead air at all.
Oh,
we
great. I love it.
I can't stand it. Fucking keep talking, keep
Oh,
talking.
right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
let people breathe.
Yeah, it's true.
It's what I think it doesn't happen in real life. Everyone's so anxious to fucking say something, and I catch myself doing it all the time, even on the podcast, let alone in real life. It's just like, hey man, chill out. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we all have to, but it's okay. It's okay. It's sort
Everyone
of like when you're
has-
in the car with somebody and they don't shut the fuck up because they're uncomfortable.
Right.
We don't have that problem anymore, as we discussed. But
Right.
there was
It's
a
like
time.
in
There was a
music,
time.
we need space as well as notes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And coming up through jazz, you have to know when you can just fucking freewheel and when you have to stay in the pocket.
No one to hold them. You know the rest.
I don't.
Kenny something.
Kenny Rogers, I believe.
Kenny something.
Yeah.
He was the
gambler.
Kenny.
Here's the deal. I was halfway there. And it's like, this might not be right. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to go full force
You
with Kenny
almost said
Rogers. if it was
Loggins.
like-
I was going to say, before Loggins and G, we talked about Kenny G this
Oh,
morning.
gee, oh. Right. There is that.
What do you say if you want an elevator? Something,
Ah.
someone sweet that we were with was just being so funny about it.
Uh-huh.
Michael Dolphin was, he's going to be on actually next week.
Oh,
so
good.
we'll talk to him about
Okay,
it.
good.
Oh, my
That
goodness.
guy. He was
So
there this
funny.
morning. Do you know him well?
I do not.
Oh, he's great. He was there this morning. Love
He's
him
great. He's a
too.
PCA instructor. He's been involved with Porsche for years and years. But the man himself, much like all of the people that we hang out with, the man behind whatever his Porsche affiliation is just good people.
Right.
Just genuinely good person. You know, more good than bad in the world. That type of. a lover. He's a lover.
Yeah.
But he's
Takes one to know one.
involved. He was involved from a very early age in music. His dad used to. Well, it doesn't matter. Very, very cool stuff. Are you going to make the next Breakfast Club? Are you going to come next week?
I am not, as a matter of fact.
See,
Yes, I'll
2
be
weeks in a row.
professing next Friday.
Fair enough.
Which is rare. I usually try to take Fridays off.
Is that what you do? Is that how that
My
works?
schedule is generally Monday through Thursday, but Monday is a national holiday, so that will be made up on Friday of next week.
That's why we're shooting this today.
Sad to report.
For us.
Yeah.
Well, I know you've got kid duty, and I want you to come back. Would you come back?
I'd be
Because there
happy
are other
to.
things I want to talk to you about.
I know,
So
there's-
we're pushing it. We're almost at an hour already.
There's
So
so much more to say.
all right.
Okay.
Do you feel good about it? Your first experience? You were a little bit nervous. We can talk. We can say that now,
I
right?
love the Ryans so much. You guys always put me at ease.
Come
on.
on.
I'm around you. I'm in my comfort zone.
You're crazy. Is it true?
Okay.
It
Is
is
that
true. It is true.
You're not this way. I meet you, and I assume you're this way with everyone. Is that not the case?
It is not the case. You should see me in traffic behind Priuses.
Really?
It's Jekyll and Hyde.
Really?
Yeah,
nuts to think about.
I can't even picture an aggro side to you.
Oh yeah, it's there. It happens in traffic. Little patience for poor driving.
Well,
yeah.
you're awesome. Seriously, the professor. Thank you for coming over to do this, and please come back.
It is always my pleasure. I'll be happy to come back anytime.
Can't wait.
Awesome. All right.
All right.
What is it? Is it President's Day? I feel like a real schlub for not even
This
knowing.
Monday is President's Day. Yes.
Happy. Well, today's
Yes.
President's Day. Happy President's Day,
Is it today?
everybody. Yes, it will be when this airs.
Oh,
yeah.
it is. Happy
This is
President's
a pre-tape,
And
yeah.
I just want to clarify that would be Washington and Lincoln.
Not
Lest you thought it was something more.
Not
current.
everything.
understood. So Washington and Lincoln.
We should maybe rename that.
Yes.
So it's not
Former
confusing.
President's Day, perchance.
Well, it used to be there was a Washington and then there was a Lincoln, and then they combined them and called
Oh, yeah.
it Presidents.
Yeah,
Do
that's
you guys
true.
remember that? We used to get 2 days off of
Yeah,
school when I was a
that's
kid.
Crap.
Oh yeah.
Kids are screwed these days. They
There
don't
it
know
is.
how easy we had it back in the old days. Our parents had to walk uphill both ways.
Both in
we
the
had it
snow
so
and the
easy.
wind.
Yeah, I rode my
Yeah.
bike.
Exactly. You drove your Porsche to school, for God's sake.
We love you, Professor.
Love you.
I love you.
Life
we love everybody.
with the Ryans couldn't
Life-
be better.
You're
Yeah.
the best.
All right.
I hope you had fun.